Hey guys, so welcome to Crypto News. I'm going to talk to you guys about EOS today because I'm actually pretty excited. This is not investment advice, but I wanted to run through some of the things that I really love about EOS. And I'm not trying to shill or anything like that, just a little disclaimer, not investment advice. Just want to share what I'm excited about basically. So the first thing is timing. I think EOS is timed so perfectly. I don't even think they did it on purpose, honestly. The timing has to do with, well, all great products, I think, have great timing. I think that this is an important thing for a lot of products. But also with all the scalability issues that all these other platforms and blockchains are having, and people talking about TPS and how EOS has really great scalability, and it's already proven in some of the previous products that use the same technology. The transactions are faster, and there's more than a lot of blockchains out there. Probably not all of them, but as far as mature and that they actually have a working product, I think is a really great thing for EOS. Another thing is that they're visionary. These are the guys that are over in Puerto Rico, rebuilding Puerto Rico, building the new crypto cities, and they're kind of crazy and they're cool guys. They're sort of like turning crypto into something a little more sexy, like SpaceX or something like this. These guys are kind of world, if you really think about it, building a fully new international payment transaction system. I mean, this is crazy. Then it goes into their team. Another thing that I really love is I really actually like Dan Larimer. I'm a pretty big fan. I don't know a lot about him, but everything I hear, I really love. Like, he's a free market capitalist, and I think that these new crypto payment and crypto transaction systems are really compatible and help to build this new kind of free market economy that we're looking towards building, and removing governments and building a more decentralized kind of governance structure. And I think that this guy has proven that, you know, he is the right guy for the job. I really love his politics. I feel like he's more into the markets and allowing markets to regulate a lot of what's going on, and he's leading the development. So this sort of decentralized governance structure, he's building one of the largest platforms. And look at his track record. If you see BitShares and Steemit and, you know, the Steem protocol, I mean, these things are already, these applications that he's built are already comprise about 50% or maybe even more of all blockchain transactions. And sure, a lot of people have their way of thinking, well, like isn't really a transaction, but I personally believe it is. I went and I liked something that you posted. It is a transaction, and it is recorded on the blockchain. And in my opinion, it's a really great use of a blockchain. I think that, you know, without going too far down the rabbit hole, that a lot of these youngsters aren't going to realize the difference between what a like and a, you know, somebody sending them money for some kind of labor. Like this new economy that's emerging, you know, nobody would have ever guessed that there would be a social media strategist that would make money. Nobody would have ever guessed that before. So the idea of liking and exchanging money and value and having that on the blockchain, it's not alien to me at all. And, you know, a lot of people criticize and say, well, he built BitShares and he built Steemit, but, you know, and then he bounced. But I've seen him speak to this very, I'm not trying to apologize for him or defend him, but I'm just trying to show my view is that he's spoken to this, and I feel like his answer is really good. He said, look, I'm building a decentralized platform. If the whole thing relied on me to succeed, it wouldn't really be decentralized, right? He's like, they're running themselves fine. And it's true. Look at, a lot of people thought it was just some shitty spam network, but now look at Steemit. It's crushing it. And it's built on the same technology. You know, a lot of the same technology and those learnings are brought over to EOS. So, you know, they just hit 1 million users in Steemit. I mean, it's probably the killer app for blockchain, and people are just really missing it or hating on it or whatever, but it's working. And so there are other guys on their team, pretty solid dudes. I won't speak too much about them, but you can look them up. Another thing I really love about EOS is their block producer community. And their block producer model and their consensus model and DPoS I think can work pretty well. I'm feeling very optimistic about it. I'm seeing a lot of action with block producers. I've joined a lot of their Telegram communities, watching, what kind of values they have. And I feel like their values overall, I don't agree with all of them, but they're really trying to build a fair system. They're trying to block, some block producers from owning other block producers. And, just a little primer on a block producer is like they're the ones that are ultimately responsible for processing a lot of these transactions. And I do apologize for going a little bit fast, guys, but I wanted this to be, a substantive, data rich, why I love EOS. So these block producers are a big part of it. I feel like the model is pretty nice. It is environmentally more friendly than a proof of work. A lot of people believe this. There are a lot of incentives, and they are trying to set up the block producers in a way where the money that they mine goes directly back to the community. And a lot of people are speculating that in Bitcoin, there's only about 5 different parties that are really mining all this cryptocurrency and gaining from it, and that it could eventually be 5% of the power grid. And there's a lot of opinions here, and I'm trying to stay neutral on this, but having it distributed across the world, I think, is a really great thing, which leads me into the other thing that I love about EOS is that I feel like they are more international friendly. They are more, if you look at their block producer structure, for example, there's block producers all over the whole world, and they're really trying to focus. Like a block producer that I'm part of is in India. And there's block producers all over the world that are, I think that we're really trying to build more of an international community and an international payment system, whereas a lot of these other crypto projects, most of them are launching in the US, which is cool to me, but because I'm American. But if you want to have other people involved in the community, like EOS is really doing that. They have multilingual Telegram chats. They're really trying to serve the entire community. The events they're doing are international. So I think that that's something to really pay attention to if you want to build a sort of world and a kind of nationally agnostic type of technology. It has good signs for it. Also, another thing about BPs, before I move off of the block producers, is that the community is really trying to avoid collusion, and they're doing a lot. I'm seeing a lot of block producers are releasing their sort of statements of what their intent is to provide value back to the communities, and they are taking the EOS that they mine or that they produce, and they are dedicating a certain level of that back to the community, like building dApps, building the infrastructure, security, things that support the ecosystem and make it thrive. And this is different from a miner in Bitcoin, where it's like, I just take my profits and buy my yacht or whatever they do with it. It's a little bit different. So another reason why I really love EOS is because I believe that it's a pretty big threat to Ethereum. I know that there's a lot of people who really love Ethereum. I do. I think that Ethereum pretty much made the ICO community that I'm really enthusiastic about it. So I have a lot to thank them for it. But I think that EOS is a true threat to Ethereum. I have been seeing a lot of information and hearing different things through the communities that I go through on Telegram, and I'm seeing that there's thousands of people that are considering moving their shit off of Ethereum and onto EOS, and that there are a lot of platforms that don't really work on Ethereum. Look at CryptoKitties. It just crashes the Ethereum network, and this is just trading some bullshit. What if you want to run a legitimate business where you're really transferring value, and you want a more scalable solution to where you're creating these transactions? And we already have kind of proof that this is doable and scalable through the previous technologies that the EOS team has built. And so, if I have to make a bold prediction, I think that it's highly probable that EOS could take out Ethereum, and that you might see something flipping. I'm a little bit too optimistic about it. I'm willing to admit I'm a bit biased. I think that EOS could eventually make things like Bitcoin obsolete in some ways. And I'm not one of those one coin to rule them all type people at all. I'm more of a technologist and enthusiastic, but it's hard to not pay attention to how much this shit could pop off here. So, another thing that I'd like to bring up is the VCs. They have a lot of They are trying to really support the community, and that means supporting applications that are built on the EOS platform. And so they've created their own VC that will be investing, and they've grouped up with other VCs as well to be investing in some of these technologies that are built on the EOS platform. So, hopefully there are a lot of killer dApps. I mean, this could be the new internet, and so if it is, there are a lot of investors that are probably very interested in figuring out what this new dApp ecosystem is going to be like. Like, is somebody going to build the next Facebook on one of these crypto platforms? My guess is they probably are. So, there's a lot of really good things about EOS. I really like their branding. I like the people who are behind it. I like how enthusiastic a lot of the developers are. But, there are some cons, and I do want to kind of balance it out a little bit and not just be drinking the Kool-Aid all day. There's a couple of things that I picked up on that I didn't really love about it. And one of those is the way that the tokens need to move off ERC20 into their own blockchain and the registration process. I did make an article, another video about how you can do that pretty easily in Exodus. But at first, a lot of people were hopping into command lines and doing all kinds of funny business, downloading GitHub repos just to, register their tokens. And this is probably not a good thing. And a lot of people believe that people are going to get burned on this. If you went and bought some tokens and you didn't follow up on all the news and you need to register your tokens now, a lot of people are probably going to miss that. I have heard some rumors, and I don't know for sure. I will look into it more, but that, a lot of these people will hold these tokens even if they don't register them, they won't get burned. But let's err on the side of safety and register the shit, because you don't want to end up with a bunch of useless ERC20 EOS tokens. And I kind of can't imagine how those will stay valuable after everybody moves to the EOS blockchain. I really don't know. I guess they'll just try to honor it, and that would be the right thing to do, because I'm a little bit worried that there's going to be some legal shit going down if people don't, there's going to be a lot of angry people that didn't move their token. So, another thing that I wasn't that excited about, even though I do love their dev community, I wasn't really that excited about having so many tools in C++, and I do think that this might be something that makes Ethereum a little bit more developer friendly. I think that we need to really honor the developer community, and a lot of people will say this really does honor a core dev community with tools like C++, but even though I started coding in C++ and that's where my background was, I quickly moved into more high-level languages that are easier to use, have less of a learning curve. And I think that they expose themselves to a little bit of friction here with the developer community by starting with C++. And look, the developers are everything. The developers were everything in building this whole Ethereum ecosystem. Look at the thousands of tokens that were launched on Ethereum. There's a reason for that. It's developer friendly. Using Solidity is actually really easy. It's easier than JavaScript. It's kind of like a toy language that allows anybody to play with it, and C++, frankly, is not. So that's a little bit negative for me. But yeah, I'll leave some links in the comments, and please remember to subscribe to what I'm doing here. I just want to share news. I want it to be really condensed. And the reason why I jump into it so fast is because I get tired of watching YouTube channels where people just don't really jump into the real shit that I watched it for. So anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.